The latest research has revealed a shocking truth that could change everything you thought you knew about cooking oils. 4 commonly used cooking oils, ones you probably have in your kitchen right now and that are marketed as heart-healthy, might actually be accelerating cognitive decline, especially after age 55. Every day, millions of people drizzle these oils onto their salads and use them to cook their family meals, completely unaware that they could be compromising their brain health with each bite. And, what's truly alarming, the food industry has been promoting these very same oils as beneficial for decades. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on these 4 supposedly healthy oils that research now suggests may be harming your brain, and we'll show you exactly what to use instead. This isn't about scare tactics, it's about empowering you with information that the food industry might prefer you didn't have. Whether you're cooking for yourself, your children, or your aging parents, the information in this video could be the key to preserving cognitive function and memory for years to come. And if you're already experiencing those frustrating senior moments, the simple switches we'll discuss today might help you regain some of that mental sharpness you've been missing. Let's dive into the science of how these common cooking oils affect your brain health, particularly as you age. Our brains naturally undergo changes as we get older. After 50, we typically begin to experience some degree of cognitive slowing and memory changes. But what many people don't realize is that diet plays a crucial role in either accelerating or slowing this process. The brain is approximately 60% fat, making it the fattiest organ in the human body. This means the types of fats we consume directly affect brain structure and function. The right fats help maintain cell membrane integrity, support neurotransmitter function, and reduce inflammation. The wrong fats, however, can promote chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, and even contribute to the formation of amyloid plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at managing inflammation and oxidative stress. This makes the brain particularly vulnerable to dietary choices after age 55, when these natural protection mechanisms are already compromised. But here's the good news: by making informed choices now, regardless of your age, you can help protect your brain for decades to come. The 4 oils we're about to discuss share something in common. They're all high in omega-6 fatty acids, particularly linoleic acid. While we need some omega-6 fatty acids, the modern diet provides far too many compared to anti-inflammatory omega-3s. This imbalance creates a perfect storm for brain inflammation. Now let's examine these 4 healthy oils one by one and uncover why they might be doing more harm than good for your brain health. Our first culprit is soybean oil, which has become the most widely consumed oil in America. You'll find it in countless processed foods, from salad dressings to baked goods, and it's a staple in restaurant kitchens across the country. For decades, soybean oil has been marketed as a healthy alternative to saturated fats, with its low price point making it attractive to food manufacturers and home cooks alike. But here's what the food industry isn't telling you. Recent research has linked soybean oil to serious concerns about brain health. A groundbreaking 2020 study from the University of California, Riverside found that soybean oil consumption in mice led to gene changes in the hypothalamus, a crucial brain region that regulates metabolism and stress responses. Even more concerning, these changes affected about 100 genes, including some linked to conditions like autism and Parkinson's disease. Dr. Francis Sladek, one of the lead researchers, noted that the hypothalamus regulates body weight via metabolism, maintains body temperature, is critical for reproduction and physical growth, and responds to stress. Changes to this vital brain region could have far-reaching effects on overall health, not just cognition. What makes soybean oil particularly problematic is its extremely high content of linoleic acid, an omega-6 fatty acid. While we need some omega-6 in our diet, the average American consumes far too much. About 16 times more omega-6 than omega-3 fatty acids. This imbalance promotes inflammation throughout the body, including the brain. For those over 55, this is especially concerning. As we age, our blood-brain barrier becomes more permeable, making it easier for inflammatory compounds to enter and damage brain tissue. This can accelerate age, cognitive decline, and potentially increase the risk of neurodegenerative diseases. You might be thinking, I don't use soybean oil for cooking, but here's the catch. It's hiding in places you wouldn't expect. Check the ingredient list on your store-bought salad dressings, mayonnaise, crackers and chips, frozen meals, and fast food, which is often fried in this oil. It's also commonly found in baked goods and processed snacks. Even products labeled made with olive oil often contain soybean oil as the main ingredient, with just a touch of olive oil added for marketing purposes. So what can you use instead? Opt for extra virgin olive oil for salad dressings and low-heat cooking. For higher heat cooking, avocado oil is an excellent alternative with a high smoke point and brain-healthy monounsaturated fats. And if you're buying packaged foods, take the extra few seconds to read the ingredient list. If soybean oil is listed, consider looking for alternatives or making your own version at home. Remember, this isn't just important for those already experiencing cognitive issues. The cumulative effect of consuming inflammatory oils over decades can set the stage for problems later in life, which is why awareness at any age is crucial for long-term brain health. Moving on to our second brain-harming oil, corn oil. Like soybean oil, corn oil has been a staple in American kitchens for generations. It's often promoted as heart-healthy because it contains polyunsaturated fats and can help lower LDL cholesterol when used in place of saturated fats. You'll find it in many fried foods, baked goods, and packaged snacks. It's also a common choice for home cooking due to its mild flavor and high smoke point. But the story of corn oil and brain health reveals a concerning picture, especially for those over 55. Corn oil contains about 57% omega-6 linoleic acid, one of the highest concentrations among cooking oils. This excessive amount of omega-6, without balancing omega-3s, creates a cascade of inflammatory responses in the body. A study published in the journal Nutrients found that diets high in corn oil led to increased oxidative stress in the brain and impaired cognitive function in animal models. The researchers noted that the high omega-6 content resulted in lipid peroxidation, essentially the oxidative degradation of lipids in cell membranes, including those in brain cells. Dr. Greg Cole, a neuroscientist at UCLA, explains it this way. When we consume too many omega-6 fatty acids, they compete with omega-3s for space in cell membranes. This can make cell membranes less fluid and more prone to oxidative damage, particularly in the brain, where cells are especially vulnerable to oxidative stress. For someone over 55, whose natural antioxidant defenses are already declining with age, this additional oxidative stress can accelerate the aging process in the brain. Research has linked this type of chronic inflammation and oxidative stress to an increased risk of neurodegenerative diseases, including Alzheimer's and vascular dementia. But it's not just direct brain effects we need to worry about. Corn oil consumption has also been associated with insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome, both of which are risk factors for cognitive decline. A 2015 study published in the journal PLOS One found that rats fed a diet high in corn oil developed insulin resistance more rapidly than those on a balanced fat diet. This matters because insulin resistance is increasingly recognized as a significant risk factor for cognitive impairment and dementia. You might be surprised to learn where corn oil is lurking in your diet. Commercially fried foods, where many restaurants use it for deep frying, margarine and vegetable shortening, microwave popcorn, store-bought tortilla chips and corn chips, many types of crackers and cookies, frozen pizza and prepared meals, some canned soups and stews. What makes this particularly troubling is that corn oil is often used in products marketed to older adults as heart healthy due to its cholesterol lowering effects. But this single-minded focus on cholesterol has overshadowed the potential negative impacts on brain health. For better brain-healthy alternatives, consider using extra virgin olive oil for most cooking purposes. If you need an oil with a higher smoke point, avocado oil or small amounts of coconut oil are better options. Even butter in moderation may be less problematic for brain health than large amounts of corn oil, despite its saturated fat content. For young adults just establishing their cooking habits, making these switches now could have profound implications for brain health decades later. And for those already in their 50s and beyond, it's never too late to make dietary changes that support cognitive function. Our third oil-raising red flags for brain health is canola oil. Perhaps no other cooking oil has a more confusing reputation than canola oil. It's been aggressively marketed as one of the healthiest cooking oil options available, thanks to its low saturated fat content, relatively high omega-3 content compared to other vegetable oils, and heart health claims. Many health organizations have recommended it as part of a heart-healthy diet, and you'll find it in countless products labeled as healthy alternatives. But recent research paints a concerning picture of canola oil's impact on brain health, especially for those over 55. A study from Temple University made headlines when it found that canola oil consumption was linked to worsened memory and learning ability in mice models of Alzheimer's disease. The mice fed canola oil also showed increased formation of amyloid plaques in the brain, a hallmark of Alzheimer's disease, and the breakdown of connections between brain cells. Dr. Domenico Pratico, who led the study, noted, even though canola oil is a vegetable oil, we need to be careful before we say that it's healthy. Based on the evidence from this study, canola oil should not be thought of as being equivalent to oils with proven health benefits. Part of the problem lies in how canola oil is typically processed. Modern canola oil production involves extensive refining, bleaching, and deodorizing processes that use high heat and chemicals. These processes can create trans fats and oxidized compounds that promote inflammation and oxidative stress in the body. What's particularly relevant for older adults is that canola oil consumption has been linked to increased oxidative stress in the brain. As we age, our natural antioxidant defenses weaken, making us more vulnerable to this type of damage. The oxidized compounds in refined canola oil may contribute to the deterioration of the blood-brain barrier, the brain's protective shield that keeps harmful substances out. The leaky blood-brain barrier allows more inflammatory compounds to enter the brain, potentially accelerating cognitive decline. Additionally, while unrefined canola oil does contain some omega-3 fatty acids, the refining process can damage these delicate fats, reducing their anti-inflammatory benefits. What's left is primarily omega-6 fatty acids, which, as we've discussed, can promote inflammation when consumed in excess. You might be surprised at how ubiquitous canola oil has become in our food supply. It's found in many healthy salad dressings, plant-based butter alternatives, commercially baked breads and pastries, most restaurant meals as it's a staple in commercial kitchens, many brands of mayonnaise including those labeled as olive oil, mayo, granola and energy bars, plant-based meat alternatives and many healthy frozen meals. What's especially deceptive is that many products will prominently advertise made with olive oil on the front label, while the ingredient list reveals canola oil as the main ingredient, with just a small amount of olive oil added. For better brain health, consider using extra virgin olive oil for most of your cooking needs. Its monounsaturated fats and polyphenols have been shown to support cognitive function and may even help break down amyloid plaques. For higher heat cooking, where olive oil isn't suitable, avocado oil is a better alternative than canola. Unrefined coconut oil in moderation can also be a good choice for certain cooking applications. When switching away from canola oil, many people notice subtle improvements in their overall health beyond just brain function. Some report better digestion, clearer skin, and more stable energy levels. These side benefits often become apparent within just a few weeks of making the switch. While everyone's experience differs, these additional health improvements can provide extra motivation to maintain the changes long term. There's also an environmental aspect to consider when choosing cooking oils. Conventional canola farming typically uses significant amounts of pesticides and fertilizers, which can contaminate groundwater and reduce soil quality over time. By contrast, many olive oil producers, especially in traditional growing regions, use more sustainable farming methods that support both environmental and human health. This makes extra virgin olive oil not just a brain-healthy choice, but often a more environmentally friendly one as well. For busy families trying to make healthier choices, meal planning can be a powerful strategy. Setting aside an hour each weekend to plan meals that use brain-healthy oils can eliminate the need for last-minute decisions that often default to less healthy options. Consider creating a collection of favorite recipes that already use olive or avocado oil, or that can be easily adapted to use these healthier alternatives. Another practical tip is to rebottle your oils as soon as you purchase them. Light and heat can cause oils to oxidize and develop harmful compounds even before you open them. Transferring oils, especially extra virgin olive oil, to dark glass bottles and storing them away from the stove can preserve their beneficial properties longer. This simple step takes just a few minutes but can significantly improve the quality of the oils you consume. For those who enjoy dining out, becoming an informed restaurant customer is essential. Many higher-end restaurants now specify the types of oils used in their dishes, and some even feature particular olive oils on their menus. Don't hesitate to ask servers about cooking oils and show appreciation when restaurants use brain-healthy options. This consumer feedback encourages more establishments to make healthier choices. If you're interested in learning more about the scientific research behind oil choices and brain health, several excellent books have been published in recent years that delve deeper into this topic. Authors like Dr. Lisa Mosconi, Dr. Dale Bredesen, and Dr. David Perlmutter have written accessible works that explain the connections between dietary fats and brain function. These resources can provide more in-depth understanding for those wanting to explore beyond what we can cover in this video. It's worth noting that some cold-pressed organic canola oils are less processed and may not carry the same risks as highly refined versions. However, these are rarely what you'll find in processed foods or most grocery store bottles labeled simply as canola oil. For those caring for aging parents or concerned about their own cognitive health after 55, checking the types of oils in both home-cooked and processed foods could be one of the most important dietary changes to make. It's worth mentioning that the impact of canola oil might be more pronounced in people with certain genetic factors. Research has shown that individuals with the ApoE4 gene variant, which increases the risk of Alzheimer's disease, may be particularly susceptible to the negative effects of inflammatory oils. While genetic testing isn't necessary for everyone, those with a family history of Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia might want to be especially vigilant about avoiding canola and other inflammatory oils. Another aspect rarely discussed is how canola oil might interact with medications commonly prescribed to older adults. Some preliminary research suggests that the fatty acid profile in canola oil might affect how certain cholesterol-lowering medications and blood thinners work in the body. While more research is needed in this area, it's another reason to consider healthier alternatives if you're taking prescription medications. Many people wonder about the differences between conventional and organic canola oil. While organic versions may avoid some of the pesticides used in conventional farming, the refining process still creates many of the same concerns for brain health. The organic label, while beneficial in many contexts, doesn't necessarily make canola oil a brain-friendly choice. The timing of when you consume canola oil might also matter. Some studies suggest that consuming inflammatory oils with high glycemic carbohydrates like white bread or sugary foods creates a particularly damaging combination for brain health. This double hit of inflammation and blood sugar spikes can amplify oxidative stress in brain tissue. This is concerning when you consider how many breakfast foods combine canola oil with refined carbohydrates. Think muffins, pancakes, and many breakfast cereals. For those experiencing early signs of memory issues, eliminating canola oil might be particularly beneficial. Several small-scale clinical studies have found that when people with mild cognitive impairment switched from vegetable oils to extra virgin olive oil and other brain-supportive fats, they often reported subjective improvements in mental clarity within just a few weeks. While these aren't definitive clinical trials, they suggest that the brain may respond relatively quickly to these dietary changes. If you're cooking for family members of different ages, you might wonder if canola oil affects everyone equally. The truth is that while younger brains may be more resilient to inflammatory damage, the cumulative effects of consuming these oils begin long before symptoms appear. Children and young adults who consume canola oil regularly may be setting the stage for earlier cognitive decline decades later. This makes family-weight dietary changes beneficial for everyone at the table, not just older adults. Our fourth and final brain-harming oil category is perhaps the most deceptive: vegetable oil blends. These products, often simply labeled as vegetable oil, typically contain a mixture of oils, usually some combination of soybean, corn, canola, sunflower, and safflower oils. They're marketed as all-purpose cooking oils and are among the least expensive options on store shelves, making them popular choices for budget-conscious shoppers of all ages. The term vegetable oil sounds wholesome. After all, vegetables are healthy, right? But this name is misleading. These oils don't come from vegetables at all, but rather from the seeds of plants, and they've undergone extensive industrial processing that bears little resemblance to anything found in nature. What makes these blended oils particularly problematic for brain health is that they combine multiple sources of inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids, creating a perfect storm for neuroinflammation. A 2017 study published in the journal Brain, Behavior and Immunity found that high consumption of omega-6 fatty acids from vegetable oils was associated with increased production of pro-inflammatory cytokines and altered mood states. For those over 55, these inflammatory effects can be especially damaging. Neuroinflammation is increasingly recognized as a key driver of age cognitive decline and neurodegenerative diseases. Dr. Suzanne Kraft, a neuroscientist who studies the connection between diet and Alzheimer's disease, explains, inflammation in the brain can damage neurons and disrupt communication between brain cells. Over time, this can lead to noticeable cognitive impairment and may accelerate the progression of dementia. Beyond their inflammatory properties, vegetable oil blends are particularly prone to oxidation, especially when heated. This oxidation produces compounds called aldehydes, which have been linked to neurodegenerative diseases and accelerated aging. A study from the University of Oxford found that when these oils are heated repeatedly, As often happens in restaurants and food manufacturing, the levels of aldehydes increase significantly. What's especially concerning is how ubiquitous these oil blends have become in our food supply. They're found in almost all commercially fried foods, most brands of potato chips and other snack foods, frozen pizzas and prepared meals, crackers and cookies, baking mixes, commercial salad dressings, fast food and many restaurant meals, breakfast cereals and many low-fat products where oils replace removed fat. For families with members of different ages, it's worth noting that these oils may be particularly prevalent in foods marketed to children and teenagers, establishing harmful dietary patterns early in life. So what should you use instead? For most cooking purposes, extra virgin olive oil remains one of the best choices for brain health. Its high content of monounsaturated fats and polyphenols has been associated with better cognitive function and reduced risk of cognitive decline. The Mediterranean diet, which features olive oil as its primary fat source, has been linked to a lower risk of Alzheimer's disease and slower cognitive decline with age. For high heat cooking, avocado oil provides a brain-friendly alternative with a high smoke point. Small amounts of unrefined coconut oil or even grass-fed butter or ghee can be better options than vegetable oil blends despite their saturated fat content, as they're less prone to oxidation and don't contribute to the omega-6 overload. For baking, applesauce or mashed bananas can often replace oils in recipes, adding moisture without the inflammatory fats. And for salad dressings, nothing beats a simple combination of extra virgin olive oil and lemon juice or vinegar. Now that we've uncovered the 4 healthy oils that might be harming your brain, let's talk about practical ways to remove them from your diet and replace them with truly brain-supporting alternatives. These strategies work regardless of your age or cooking experience. First, become a label detective. Food manufacturers are masters at disguising ingredients, so it's essential to read the full ingredient list, not just the front of package claims. Terms like made with olive oil often mask the fact that soybean or canola oil is the primary ingredient. Remember that ingredients are listed in descending order by weight, so check what oil appears first in the list. When shopping for cooking oils, look for these brain-healthy options: extra virgin olive oil in dark glass bottles to protect from light damage, avocado oil that's preferably cold-pressed and in dark packaging, small amounts of unrefined coconut oil, and carefully sourced high-quality omega-3 rich oils like flaxseed oil for cold applications only, never for cooking. For prepared foods, look for products that specify they're made with these healthier oils, and be skeptical of vague terms like vegetable oil or blend of oils. In your kitchen, consider these simple swaps. Replace vegetable oil in baking with applesauce, mashed banana, or avocado. Make your own salad dressings with extra virgin olive oil and vinegar or lemon juice. Use avocado oil for stir-frying and other high-heat cooking. Try dry roasting vegetables with herbs instead of oil, or use a minimal amount of olive oil. Consider an oil sprayer to control portions when cooking. When dining out, don't be afraid to ask what oils are used in food preparation. Many restaurants are becoming more accommodating to dietary preferences and may offer olive oil options upon request. Fast food and chain restaurants are more challenging, as most use soybean or vegetable oil blends for frying. In these cases, opt for grilled or baked options instead of fried foods. For families with members of all ages, making these changes benefits everyone. The developing brains of children and teenagers are particularly sensitive to inflammatory damage, while older adults can experience more immediate cognitive benefits from reducing inflammatory oils. If completely eliminating these oils seems overwhelming, start with small steps. Even reducing your consumption can make a difference. Begin by replacing the oil you use at home, then gradually work on reducing processed foods that contain problematic oils. Every meal is an opportunity to nourish your brain rather than harm it. To wrap up today's eye-opening look at supposedly healthy oils that might be harming your brain, let's recap the 4 oils to avoid, especially after age 55. Soybean oil, with its potential to alter genes in the hypothalamus and promote inflammation. Corn oil, linked to increased oxidative stress in the brain and impaired cognitive function. Canola oil, associated with worsened memory and increased amyloid plaque formation. And vegetable oil blends, which combine multiple sources of inflammatory omega-6 air. The good news in all this is that making changes to your oil consumption can have relatively quick benefits for brain health. Within weeks of reducing inflammatory oils, many people report improved mental clarity, better memory, and more stable mood. The long-term benefits for brain protection continue to accumulate the longer you maintain these healthier habits. Remember, protecting your brain isn't just about adding superfoods to your diet. It's equally important to remove the foods that may be causing harm. The simple act of switching your cooking oils might be one of the most powerful steps you can take toward preserving cognitive function as you age. Whether you're 25, 55, or 85, the choices you make today affect your brain tomorrow. If you're younger, establishing brain-healthy habits now can pay dividends for decades to come. If you're over 55, it's never too late to make changes that support your cognitive health. We hope this information empowers you to make more informed choices about the oils you use. If you found this video helpful, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might benefit. Until then, remember that every meal is an opportunity to nourish your brain.